Today I have David MacLachlan from Tourism Northern Ontario in to talk a little bit about the tourism industry up north this summer with all the fires and the different kind of ideas that people have about safety up here. So David, you sent us a release yesterday about kind of, that it's safe to come out and, participate up in Northern Ontario for vacationing this summer. Have the operators been struggling this year because of Parry Sound 33 and the fire out, I think it's outside of North Bay?
Yes, up in the Temagami
Right.
area. Yeah, so what we're finding is that we're very fortunate this year, in this particular area in the Algoma district, that we haven't seen much fire activity, but certainly in the northeast and the northwest, we've seen a lot of fire activity, and especially the northeast, being so much closer to Toronto and Southern Ontario, they've been very much affected by the publicity of the fires in the media down south. So we're trying to get the message out that things are under control, conditions are easy, and it's a good time to come and have your holiday here in Northern Ontario.
And so you mentioned too, and that there's kind of been almost a sensational kind of in the media with the fires. I mean, it's constantly being brought up across national. It's made national news. How has this deterred people from coming up north?
Well, certainly when the reports were out that the fire was close to Highway 69, they saw road traffic decrease considerably, and then there was some news stories in the media that weren't factual at all. So, for example, on breakfast television, they said that Parry Sound was being evacuated when it wasn't. So typically here in the north, because we're more remote, we don't see the property damage that you're also seeing in California. So you're not, but we did have some operators who had to evacuate and get out from anywhere from 3 days to 10 days, and that's had an impact there. But where we're finding that the biggest impact is along that Highway 11, Highway 69 corridor, is that people just aren't traveling. So the people who are booking a holiday at the last minute or deciding to go, they're going elsewhere as opposed to coming north. So we're just trying to get the message out that again, that things are fine, and feel free to come up and visit us.
And for the purpose of kind of clarifying the messages that have been put forward, is there anything else that has kind of been said in the media that's not totally factual, as in terms of areas being evacuated or highways being closed or anything like that?
I don't think so. I think for the most part it's been factual.
Right.
Obviously when people having grown up in the area and having experienced an evacuation of forest fire at our lodges, smoke is scary, and when people see that thick smoke, it can be from quite a ways away, but still it has, the images, right? They are scary to people. So that's why we're just trying to, with the only 2 or 3 weeks left before Labor Day, again, get the message out.
That it's safe.
That it's safe, for sure.
And in terms of provincial and national parks, none of those have been affected?
Well, there were some provincial parks that were closed, and most of them have all reopened at this point.
Okay.
Again, really the around the Temagami area and the French River area is where we've seen the most of the effect.
And on that note, what about wildlife? Has there been a lot of wildlife fleeing from areas that are causing any kind of disruption, or is it pretty smooth sailing?
I'm to be really honest, I'm not 100% sure in terms of the wildlife. Some of these fires are pretty big, so obviously there's been some, there's probably been some displacement, and that the forests are resilient. So next spring you'll start to see things green up again. Even this year, you'll start to things green up, and even some of the trees will come back. So they will, but it does change the landscape for sure. And
so it's safe for people to come up to the north. What are some of the activities that people can indulge in when they come up to Northern Ontario to camp or enjoy their vacation? What can people look forward to in the next 3 weeks?
Well, certainly, the north. Primarily our draw is the outdoors. So again, the forests and the waters. So a lot of people come up and, paddling is huge, boating is huge, angling, just coming up and relaxing. Hiking trails, any type of outdoorsy activity is what people come here for.
And we have a lot of tourist operators along the entire, across Ontario, but in Northern Ontario that are open for business despite fires and ready to go?
That's right. So last year was our best year ever in the
Okay.
tourism industry. In 2016, $1.6 billion in tourism receipts, and primarily, you know, 2/3 of that is from the domestic Canadian market, with the bulk of it
Right.
being here in the north or southern Ontario. About a third from the U.S. and a very small portion overseas visitors. So it's a huge industry, and you know, we've seen some figures to the end of June where our hotel occupancies were tracking at double the provincial average.
Wow.
So we've been doing quite well
Right.
up until the end of June.
Right.
And you know, we're hopeful that at the end of the day that we do have a good positive season.
Well, I'm glad to hear that everything is up and running with our regional tour operators. Thank you so much for coming in to share that with us. So, folks, there's still time. There's still 3 weeks left of summer. Get out, enjoy the north. You can visit Tourism Northern Ontario. Is it .ca?
For consumers or visitors to Northern Ontario, they should visit northernontario.travel. Up-to-date information on everything to do here in Northern Ontario, and links to all our partner sites from there.
So go online, check it out, and don't forget to explore the north this summer. We have lots to offer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll be back with more news after this.